So this episode was different, right? You're not even going into the map room. How were you feeling just with this different format?
I loved it. I loved walking around Venice. I loved spending time with all the boys. Yeah, I thought it was so much fun and way more relaxing. Being on the bus can be high stress sometimes.
Yeah, how is it living on a bus with complete sensory deprivation?
I loved that too. I love a challenge. I love kind of pushing myself to the absolute limits and seeing how much I can handle. So, not being able to know where I was going, what time it was, what day it was with all these strangers was really cool.
Biggie showed some new sides of himself in this episode that maybe didn't help you so much. How are you feeling about that part of it?
I mean, he's definitely the reason that I went home. He had the power to put his daggers on Peter and Rick and decided to put them on me and Shayne. I'm a little confused just because I don't think he knew he had the power to save somebody. That wasn't explained to him until the tie. So he really risked Shayne also going to the Garden of Souls. And Biggie and I are good friends. He's stayed at my house. I'm going to visit him soon. So seeing that on TV, I was really shocked. I had no idea that that happened. I kind of assumed that maybe he had done it, but actually seeing it happen was really shocking. Yeah, and I feel like strategically, I thought that he would want to keep in the players who are not only less of a threat in terms of European geography, but who had also been very loyal and good to him the whole game. So yeah, it was super surprising. I don't think that he has nearly as good of a chance to beat Rick or Peter as he does to beat me or Shayne. So strategically, I'm a little confused, but I'm sure he'll explain it eventually. There's no bad blood.
You were feeling close with him, right? I mean, it appeared to us that you, Shane, and Biggie were pretty close. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's super accurate. I think Biggie always had his reservations about me. And I know that he did not trust me for majority of the game, probably not until closer to the end. I made a lot of moves that weren't really shown in episode one, making alliances, bringing people back one by one, trying to strategize and figure out who I wanted to be aligned with. And I think that that probably gave him a bad taste in his mouth. Like, why is this girl making so many moves so quickly? Why is she being so forward and so out there? Also, I drank blue Powerade, so I love blue tongue. But yeah, I think that we were really close and we're even closer now after the game. So yeah, I mean, it was really shocking. I think it would have made more sense if he had just put two daggers on me and one on Peter or me, Rick, and Peter. I don't really understand the dagger on Shayne. Yeah, I don't really get it. I don't get the strategy behind it, but hopefully I'll have a chance to talk to him about it.
Did you understand how closely that Rick and Peter were working together?
Oh yeah. Shayne and I knew 1,000% that Rick and Peter were working together. We've known since Mac was still in the show that they were working together. It was very evident during the Germany train challenge that Peter was working with Rick because why else would he want to throw a challenge? I had already told him that I wanted to throw the challenge. That was my goal. And then when he agreed and he was like, yeah, we need to throw the challenge. I was like, oh, he's working with Rick. So from then on out, it was kind of just a fight to try to get everyone to believe us. And I don't think Biggie ever really believed Shane or I that Rick was working with Peter. So I think
Mm.
that was probably ultimately our demise. And Rick is playing a really good and manipulative game. You could argue that he's being extremely strategic and conniving, and I think that it's working really well. So I think what happened is Biggie got fooled by Rick and into thinking that this was the best move for his game. But in reality, personally, I think Biggie had way, way better chances of winning the entire game against me and Shayne versus against Peter and Rick. So we're gonna have to see what happens.
Okay, you mentioned the train challenge. So, did you bring up throwing it? It wasn't just Peter's idea?
Kim and I had discussed throwing it before we got into the train car because my entire alliance was on the other team. We didn't want it to be evident to Peter that we were throwing it, so we were putting things in wrong spots. But then Peter suggested throwing it. So
Hmm.
I said, okay, and I sat down. And that's not really explained either. Like, why would Kim and I just sit down and be okay with throwing the challenge? Because that's what we wanted anyways. But because that was my plan with Mac, Biggie, and Shayne, it was so clear that Peter was doing that because Rick was planning to tell him everything. I also thought it was very strange when Peter wanted me to lie to my alliance so that he could go get information from Rick. Like, I know what's going on. I thought that whole situation was weird. He could have just not said anything because no matter what was going to happen, I was going to tell my alliance the same way his alliance was going to give him information.
Yeah, so when Peter and Janae first joined the bus, everything does really shake up. How were you feeling about that?
I think we were all devastated. We had been through like 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks of gameplay, and to have two new people, famous or not, come onto the show and have the same opportunity to win. I think we all felt super slighted. It felt like this is the first season of this show. Why is this happening? So yeah, I think we were all really disappointed and frustrated and I mean, it ended up being fine. They were really nice people, but I mean, it's really hard to integrate into a game show like that. And I actually felt bad for Janae and Peter because we were hostile. Like, I mean, we were all so angry. I mean, even Biggie did a cheers to loyalty. And I think that being the two new people would have been really tough, but at the same time, that didn't change our feelings about disappointment. And we felt like we had gotten so far and then everything was turned upside down onto us. But I mean, that's what you can expect in Jeffrey's game, right?
All right, you and Shane. We gotta talk about Shane. Uh, so let's start with the game though first. Like, do you think it helped you to be so closely aligned with Shane, or was it hurting your game?
I think it was kind of neutral when I was living it, but I mean, seeing it now and seeing how adamant Rick was about splitting up the showmance, I guess it could have hurt me. But I don't think that I have any regret. I really cared for Shayne, and we really had a lot of understandings about our real life values, and we had a lot in common. So I wouldn't have changed anything. Shayne and I also had a very good understanding of it's him and Biggie and me and Ty. But I wasn't expecting Ty to leak information to Peter and then get off the show. So then it became me and Shayne and Biggie. And it was like, oh, wait, now I'm a little bit of the odd one out because Shayne already committed himself to Biggie. And I had told him from the beginning, stay loyal to your alliance. Don't don't stay loyal to me. This is a game. Like we'll figure that out, but we need to be playing our own games.
Mm. And so how did the relationship go? Did you guys continue after the show?
Yeah, we dated for about 2 months after the show, but he has a very or had a very stable job in Indiana, so he didn't have time to travel or see me really. It was going to be like a once a month kind of deal, and I was having a lot of self-realizations about who I am and what I wanted, and I don't think that seeing my partner once a month was going to be something that worked for me. But we are really close. We're really good friends. We talk like every other day, and I'm gonna go see him next week in Indiana. So
What happened in the show or the game that we didn't get to see that maybe you would like us to have seen?
a lot. I'll focus on two things. I'll focus on
Okay.
two things. The first thing is that in episode one, the second half, Mac almost doesn't choose to save me from the map room. She almost chooses Biggie. This caused a ton of strife on the bus. Josh and Ty and I were all mad that Mac was going to make this decision. Josh was telling everyone, you can't trust Mac if she doesn't save Allie. She had an alliance with her the first round. Allie didn't have to bring her in on the clue. If she doesn't save her, you can't trust her. It was a huge thing, and it made Mac and I dislike each other for the majority of the show. We barely spoke. We did not hang out until we finally had an alliance closer to episode 5. But that changed the game. Everyone was constantly gunning to get Mac out from day one. She was the biggest threat. Everyone was always talking about her. I didn't trust her. For a while, Biggie and Ty were pretending to not be okay with Shayne and I to get information from Rick and Mac. So that was also not shown. Um, so that kind of sucks because it was a really good strategy. Ty would go talk to Mac and Rachel, get a bunch of information, and then come back to us. And she would just be like, ugh, I can't stand the showmance. But then she would tell us what she figured out. Biggie would do the same thing. And then another thing that I wish was shown is I did not target my sweet baby Jonah. I told Mac and Rachel Byrne as well. I wanted Mac to get out, but she was going to put Geneva the correct answer. So I spent 10, 15 minutes convincing them to put Byrne. I also told Jonah Byrne, because if I told Jonah Geneva and Mac ended up putting Geneva and told Rachel to put Geneva, then that would have put me and Ty at risk. And protecting Ty and I was my most important thing at the moment. I really wanted Mac gone, and I was 3 miles away from making it happen. So Jonah was only 3 miles from Mac's ex, and it wasn't supposed to be Jonah. But I felt really bad about the way that that was portrayed. And Jonah and I are super close. I love Jonah.
So, do you want to do more shows? You want to do a dating show? What's next for you?
I do not want to do a dating show.
No?
Yeah, no, I don't want to do a dating show. I think that I lived that experience on Destination X and I don't need to do it again. I would love to do another strategy show. I feel like even though I was the last girl, I think that I am still being wildly underestimated. I feel like reading social media, I get a lot of support on Instagram, but on Reddit, people are always like, Allie's skating by, she doesn't figure anything out. But then I see on this fan account that I've won the second most challenges compared to anyone else besides Rick. I figured out Geneva. I told Ty Geneva. I won the Austria challenge. Like, I was a very good competitor, and I think that people overlook me, maybe because of the showmance, maybe because I'm a young woman, maybe a combination of both. But I would love to have a redemption on another show for sure. I think I would surprise a lot of people.
I would love to see it. That would be so fun. Do you know any of your astrology? Do you know your big three?
I am a Gemini and I am a Sagittarius rising and
Yes.
I am a Virgo moon.
Sagittarius rising. I love that. That's your adventurous side. That's why you would absolutely be okay on a bus traveling the world. And the fact that you'd want to keep doing other adventures. And obviously, the social Gemini sun is going to be perfect for you on any show because people will want to be social with you. There it is.
Gemini tattoo.
I
Yeah.
love it. Well, thank you so much. It was lovely to meet you and chat with
Yeah, thank you for
you.
having me.